We started? Hello, brothers and sisters in Christ, in America and around the world. I need your help. I need your help starting a prayer movement. But before we get into that, let me ask you, if you had a device that someone created and it would fix everything. Someone created a device that would fix everything. It would fix the famine problem around the world. Everyone would have plenty of water. All the wars would stop. All the governments would be for the people instead of for themselves. And everything and everyone would be happy. And this would even be a world, after you utilize the device, that people would want to live in, want to raise their families in, and would enjoy living in, rather than a world where we just live and some people just exist. Now let's say if you had that device, and say the creator of that device invited you, say he called you or sent you a message, and he told you, I want you to use this device. You have my full permission. You have full reign over this device. You're a good person. I want you to use this device, and I want you to use it to fix the world. Wouldn't you be running over there to use that device? A lot of you would be sprinting. Some of you, I think, would be sprinting faster than the Olympic sprint winner, trying to get over there to use that device. You would get there, you'd turn that device on, you would get it all set up, and you would use it, and you'd fix the world. And you'd be able to say, I fixed the world. I used this device and I fixed the world. If such a device existed, wouldn't you use it? I sure know I would. There is such a device. It does exist. And better yet, you don't have to run someplace else to get it. You can use it right where you are. You can use it right in your home. You can use it right in your car, but keep your eyes open if you're driving. You can use it right in your church. Wherever you are, you can use this device. It's called prayer. Such a device exists. Yet so few people choose to use it. You don't have to look far to see the desperate need for prayer. All you have to do is turn on the news or open a web page or a newspaper, and the abundant need for prayer is evident. There are about 460,000 children who come up missing each year. And each year enough money is spent on drugs, both recreational and illegal, to give each person in the world 25 cents. And that's just in America alone, and that's only the ones that have been reported. The numbers around the world are much higher. I'm sure even with just the numbers around the world that have been reported, those figures must be staggering. If we only knew the half of it. That's just the children. Many adults come up missing each year as well, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. There are many other examples I could give you, such as the 60 million babies that have been aborted since the inception of that horrible law was passed in America, and no doubt in the billions worldwide. Are the number of single-parent families as a result of rampant sin, not only in America, but around the world. This isn't just an American problem. I'm an American, I live in America. This isn't just an American problem. It's a worldwide problem. That's why I'm not just addressing America. I'm addressing the world. I'm addressing all of God's born-again Christians in the world. I'm addressing my Christian brothers and sisters, both in America and around the world. I believe I've made my case for the urgent and immediate need for prayer. I heard a sermon by a pastor whose name is, I believe it's Carter Conlon, about a lion and a gator. Well, I believe the sermon was about prayer, but he used an illustration based on a video that he had watched, a nature video, about a lion and a gator. This pack of lions, they had just finished their hunt and they had made a successful kill. And the male lion, he was eating his dinner. And this big old gator, I'm not sure if it was an alligator or a crocodile, an alligator I think, but this big old gator, it comes up out of its swamp, it comes up out of its watering hole, and it walks up to this lion. It takes the lion's dinner into its mouth, it pulls it away from the lion, and it turns back around and walks back into what it thought was safety. It walks back into its watering hole. Well, that lion, he looks at that gator like, no, you didn't just do that. And he gets up and he walks over to that watering hole and he stops and he takes a look at it, and then he dives in. He jumps right in, no hesitation. He goes up to that gator, he slaps him around a few times with his claws. His claws and those cats, I wouldn't mess with them. So he slaps the gator around with his claws, he takes his dinner back, he swims back to the shore, he walks up out of that watering hole, and then he pauses for just a few seconds, and he looks back at that gator as if to say, don't you ever do that again. Well, Satan has stolen something from me. Satan has stolen something from you. He's stolen our countries. He's stolen our world. He's stolen our mothers and our fathers, our brothers, our sisters. He's stolen our children. He's stolen our grandchildren. He's stolen our learning institutions. He's stolen our governments. He's stolen our land. He's stolen our countries. He's stolen our world. I don't know about you, but I want it back. Don't you? Many of you don't see it because you hear about it every day and you become callous to it. And because it's not directly affecting you, you don't worry about it too much, as long as you and your family are safe. The reason you and your family are safe is because of God's protection around you, and because the devil knows if he attacks you directly, you will begin to pray and seek the face of God. He knows it's better to win the end game or the war first, and then come after those who follow Christ. Better to keep your adversary asleep and let them think all is well than to wake them up and have them go to war against you. It's time to wake up! It's time to go to war through prayer. Our warfare is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and wickedness in high places. And our weapons are not those of flesh and blood, but of the Spirit of God. 2 Corinthians 10, verses 4 and 5 says, "For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ." And the greatest weapon we have available to us is prayer. I saw a video this morning, and in part of that video, it was talking about, this was scientists in this video, so I guess kind of a scientific video, I'm not sure, but it was talking about prayer. And these scientists, they couldn't figure out how someone could pray for someone or about something that's halfway around the world and those prayers would be answered. They couldn't figure out how a mother could pray for her son who a mother in America could pray for her son who is in a war in Afghanistan and Iraq, and her son go through all these things that should kill him and that would have killed most normal men. But yet, because of his mother's prayers, he comes home safe and sound to his mother. It baffled them. They acknowledge that it exists, but it baffled them. You see, God gave this planet to man. The lie the devil has told us, and many of us have believed it, is that Adam and Eve gave away our birthright in the Garden of Eden, and that's it. There's nothing we can do about it. It's done, it's closed, forget about it. That's not so. There was no bargain struck between Adam and Eve and the serpent. There is no contract signed. There is no bargain reached. The only thing the serpent did was it got Adam and Eve to disobey God. And through disobedience to God, they got Adam and Eve, or rather the serpent got Adam and Eve to sin against God. And he's been doing the same thing ever since. We've been trying to figure this out and do this on our own without God for a very long time now. How's that been working for us? Just look around. I think you can answer that for yourself. Isn't it time to try it God's way? How much time and effort have we wasted trying to figure this thing out and do it on our own without God's help? We should try it God's way. That video I mentioned that I saw this morning, what the video was about, it was about these scientists who were trying to determine the effect on the cell structure that makes up the world, that makes up our planet, with the introduction of human DNA. They first looked at it without the introduction of human DNA, and they noticed when they looked at it without the introduction of human DNA that the cell structure that makes up our planet, it was random. It went any old direction. Some might even say that it was chaotic. But once they introduced human DNA into the environment, the cell structure that makes up our world, it became orderly. You could see an orderly pattern. You could see structure. God gave this planet to us. God made this planet for man and for mankind, and God made us for the planet. But we have to do it as God intended. And that is through a relationship which we obtain through Jesus Christ with God, the creator of heaven and earth. Because God gave us this planet. God gave us this planet. He gave it to us. He will not get involved unless we ask him. We have to invite God to get involved in the affairs of this world. We have to ask God to help us. God's kingdom is heaven. Yes, he is the creator of heaven and earth and of the universe. But God set himself up as ruler over heaven. And God rules heaven ultimately. Satan's kingdom is hell, and Satan rules his kingdom, hell, ultimately. God put us over earth. He put us in charge of earth. Earth is man's kingdom. Earth is our kingdom. It is the kingdom that we are to rule. As I mentioned earlier, I'm an American, so I live in America. And Mexico is at our southern border. And not so many years ago, we would hear them talking on the news about the drug cartel and the drug problem that Mexico was having. It was a big deal not so many years ago. And our president at the time, before President Trump, he talked to the president of Mexico and he offered to help with that problem. And the president of Mexico said, "No, it's our problem. We will take care of it. We don't need your help." Now, America, with our military might and our superior militaries and equipment and armies, we could have easily gone into Mexico and taken care of their drug problem and their trafficking problem and the cartel. We could have easily done it even without the Mexican president's permission, even without the permission of Mexico. But Mexico is not America, and America is not Mexico. So we have no sovereign right, we have no political right, we have no right going into Mexico to take care of their problems without their permission and unless they invite us to do so. Well, that's the same way it is with God. As I had mentioned, heaven is God's kingdom. He rules his kingdom absolute. Hell is Satan's kingdom. He rules it absolute. But earth is man's kingdom. Earth is where we were appointed to rule and to reign, not by ourselves, but with God and through God. So we need to pray. God will not get involved unless we ask him. Not because he can't. He can easily do anything he wants. He's God. But because he put us over the earth to rule and reign and to run it, he will not get involved without our invitation. We need to ask him. We need to invite him. We need to pray. We have a weapon that's more powerful than anything on this planet, even more powerful than all of the nuclear bombs being sent off and going off at once. and most of us won't use it. We either don't think it's that important, we don't really think about it, or we're just too busy with our lives and we think we don't have time. We need to pray. God is a relational God, which means He works through the relationships He has with man and with mankind. And if He has no relationship with us, then He doesn't get involved. We have to invite Him in. We need to pray. Tell me if you've heard this one. We need to pray. Excuse me. We have to ask God to help us and our world. We have to ask God to get involved in the affairs which He has given to man. And that is the task of running this earth. In short, we need to pray. It's more urgent than you could imagine. The balance of not just a nation is at stake, but of the whole world. For as one nation goes, so goes the world. Please, I'm pleading with you. I need your help. I can't do this without you. Please help me pray. We need America. Beg your pardon, we need God. America needs God. The world needs God. I will leave you with one more verse, then I will tell you what I have in mind and how you can get involved and help through prayer. 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Here's what I have in mind. I want to start a prayer movement using Facebook Messenger. Now, before you dismiss me, hear me out. What messaging service is just about everyone on the planet using? It's Facebook Messenger. For many of you, I bet even your grandma's using Facebook Messenger. And she probably barely knows how to use a computer. But she's using Facebook Messenger, I bet you. So here's what I want and have done. I've created a forum using Google Forms. A link to the forum will be posted below. The forum consists of 8 questions. 1, what is your Facebook name? 2, what country do you live in? 3, what state or province do you live in? 4, what city do you live in? 5, what is your Christian faith? 6, what time are you available for prayer? 7, would you be willing to pray? More specifically, would you be wanting to lead a prayer group? And 8, and this is totally optional, what is your email address? Only so I can send you an occasional update and only if you want them. And it has a section for you to leave comments. The way it would work is when I get 4 people wanting to pray, I will send them to someone who is willing to lead a prayer group, making a total of 5 people, and ask them to send an invitation to the other 4 people in that group and form his or her own messenger prayer group with the option of adding more people in the future. Once a prayer group is established, I will remove the information of all the people in that prayer group from my spreadsheet except for those who are running the prayer groups, unless you would like an occasional update through email. And if you don't, simply don't leave your email when you fill out the form. It is not required. And occasionally, I will send a text message or an email at their choice to invite them to accept more members into their prayer group. And they have the option of saying yes and accepting more members, or they have the option of saying no. I don't want to make these my Facebook Messenger prayer groups. I want to make them yours. And if you will start and create your own prayer group through Facebook Messenger, then I will even create a survey form for you and link it to a Google spreadsheet account, or not account, but a Google spreadsheet, and I will send you the links to them. The only thing I can't do is I can't make the video for you. You have to do that on your own. I'm not selling anything. I'm not getting any money from anyone. I'm not looking for praise or glory. That belongs to God alone. I only want you to pray. And will help you to find, or rather, and will help you to that end as much as I am able. If I do this, some people will pray. If many people do this, then many people will pray. I want to invite you to fill out the prayer form. And if God leads you, I would like to invite you to start your own prayer movement. And if I can help you do that, let me know. Thank you, and God bless. Let's pray. Here I am, Lord, at your feet, where broken hearts and sorrows meet. With trembling hands I humbly plead, Lord, start a revival in me. Lord, start a revival in me. Let the fire of your Spirit burn for all the world to see. Forgive me, Lord, I'm down on bended knees. Let the prayer of my heart, the cry of my soul be, Lord, start a revival in me. Here we are, Lord, at your feet, where trembling hands and sorrows meet. With broken hearts we humbly plead, Lord, start a revival in this land. Lord, start a revival in me. Let the fire of your Spirit burn for all the world to see. Forgive us, Lord, we're down on bended knees. Let the prayers of our hearts, the cries of our soul be, Lord, start a revival in this land. Lord, start a revival